Let's go shopping for suicide. When I was physically and mentally numb, when I was completely depleted, when I had no control over my life, there was only one thing I knew I could have the most control over. I can control when and how I choose to die. It was the only thing that gave me a sense of peace. So when it was the middle of the night, there was only one thing left to do: shop online for ideas. So I know what you're thinking. New glasses? Yes, super cute. Love them so much. Well, at this time between August and October of 2020, I had been researching my options. Some of you have actually contacted me to tell me what your options were and what you had looked up for yourself. To be honest, I was fascinated when I went online to see how much content was there to help you decide which way is the best way to end your life. Kind of exactly like shopping for suicide or going to a buffet. Did you see that intro? They even have suicide kits that you can buy online. They have a new pod coming out where it's a clear pod and it's kind of like climbing into your coffin because you lay down there and you pretty much lay down, they close it up, and you take a forever nap. I had narrowed down my options to voluntary euthanasia and assisted suicide. Both are legal in Europe. There are places that only have a 30-day waiting period. If you're lucky, you may find a place that doesn't have a waiting period. Other places may take 3 to 4 months. So it was just a matter of narrowing down what I was looking to do at the time. So I hadn't picked an actual facility yet. I just knew I was researching the countries that offer it as an option. I had narrowed it down to the voluntary euthanasia or the assisted suicide because I wasn't going to leave a bloody mess for my family to have to come clean up like I'm some roadkill that they have to clean up from a street. I wasn't going to do that. So yes, I did make an exit manual. It wasn't complete. It did include all my information, my banking information, my account information and logins, everything that my family would have needed to wrap up my accounts and close everything up, which at the time I was still legally married, so my husband would have had to do all that stuff. If he wasn't going to do it, then my family would have to do it. But either way, whoever was going to have to take care of that would have had everything lined up for them in that manual. It included where my car was going to go. It included who was going to get my condo. It was becoming very detailed. Like I said, it wasn't complete, but it was becoming very detailed. It even had how to make my cat food. Yes, I make my own cat food. I love my cats. They're spoiled. And it even had the recipe on how to make the cat food and where to order the supplements from to make the cat food with. It was very strategic on having all my debts paid off with the assets that I did have and making sure that I purged a lot of stuff in my house that I knew I didn't want, that probably nobody in my family would want. And I was working towards that exit plan. I was even going to get it notarized. I was working on making sure that I had all my I's dotted, all my T's crossed, and making sure that I could make it the easiest transition for my family because I did not want to add any additional trauma to going through something like this. And I know some people may think, well, isn't this so selfish? People who kill themselves are so selfish. And I've heard that before. But my response when I hear people say that to me, what about your family? What about your friends? What about the people who love you? What about them? My response was always, but what about me? Because everything's always been about everybody else. taking care of everybody else, making sure everybody else is okay, making sure everybody else is good, making sure everybody's first. And I was tired of it. And I was tired of feeling taken for granted. And I was tired of feeling second or third or fourth or fifth or last. I was tired. And it came down to, no, it's not selfish, because my life is my story. And I get to choose and determine how I'm going to live it out. And I get to choose and finally determine how I was going to end it. And for me, it was something finally that I could do for myself, something that I can control, something that actually brought me peace and happiness. And if they didn't understand that, that wasn't on me, because finally I was doing something for me. So during all of this, I actually was in touch with some different inpatient treatment facilities. I had contacted Blackberry up in Orlando. I also contacted Banyan Treatment Facility. They're out here in South Florida. There was a really amazing one. I believe it was a Christian facility, but you already know if it's a private facility, it's already going to be stupid expensive. And it was way more than I could even ever want to pay back. So I just opted out of that. But I had called so many different facilities trying to understand how it works. What are all the options? What does everything look like? Visitation. Can I work from the facility? How long do I have to be there versus how long is the minimum I need to be there? I knew that therapy seemed insufficient for me at the time because I was already in the place where I was planning my exit. So now with the inpatient facilities, I had actually been approved to all of the ones that I had contacted, because I did tell them, listen, I'm not going to do this today. I'm not an impulsive person, but I am planning it out to be done within X amount of time. And they immediately approved me. That this was back when I actually had real health insurance. And I just kept putting it off because I was trying to plan things out based on when my end date was going to be. Now, I didn't have an end date picked. I had a time frame picked. Now, with the inpatient treatment, I didn't really care about the treatment. It was more so of a reassurance policy for my family, because I wanted them to have some kind of feeling, some kind of peace, some sort that I had actually tried and made an effort to go to an inpatient facility and get help and get better. But the truth is, I wanted to go to the inpatient facility treatment because that was going to be the place where I write all of my goodbye letters to my families and my friends. That was my plan. I had Alicia all set. She was going to house sit for me and cat sit for me and take care of my car and my things. The entire freezer was packed full of frozen cat food just to make sure that my cats were taken care of. So here's a poster I made. It started out being my Year of Memories poster, but it ended up turning into the poster my family can use for my funeral. And I had a lot of wonderful moments in that year. I got my nose ring in that September. I got to spend time with Alicia. Like I said, she was coming to see me every Friday. I got to do my super amazing fun photo shoots, and I love those so much. They felt so good. I got to swim with the dolphins. I got to swim with the seals. I even celebrated my birthday with my niece and my sister. I even celebrated my niece's birthday party. And no, of course, nobody knew anything. I had a lot of great memories that I was making, and I felt this would be a great poster to share at my funeral. This picture right here, those are a couple of my love bugs. This was the weekend I went to Wild Artistry Photography in St. Pete to take these amazing photos. And I wanted to boost my self-esteem and feel special, even if it was just for vanity for one day. So the girls came with me. We made it into a really fun girls' weekend. We stayed in a hotel in downtown St. Pete, right off the pier. Now, I have to say a really, really huge thank you to my supervisor, Jessica Dykstra. Anytime I needed help at work, anytime I needed to adjust my schedule, make up hours, when I called out, she was there to be flexible with me. And she was also there for me to help me be productive and get my work done. So that way my job was never in jeopardy. That's an amazing boss that she stuck it out with me, not knowing the whole story. She didn't know anything about this, but she stuck with me to make sure that I can keep my job so I can pay my bills. One of the reasons why I kept putting off the inpatient treatment was because I didn't want to leave her high and dry. So I knew until I was ready to follow through with the steps in my plan, I could not go into inpatient treatment because I needed to make sure that I didn't leave her high and dry. And I know she's going to call me and she's going to say, oh, don't ever do that again. If you need to get help, you have to get help. You come first, you come first. Don't forget the job. Make sure you take care of yourself. Yes, Jessica, I know. So again, thank you, Jessica. I love you so much. I feel like we're always saying thank you to each other all the time about so many different things. But thank you again. And that's why your team loves you so much. Planning my suicide may seem cryptic to you guys, but it was the only thing that gave me peace about my life and brought me some sense of happiness, especially since I was getting to decide how and when I was going to choose to leave. That I would be the one to get to write the end of my story. It was so important to me to have that weekend with those two girls. That meant so much to me. I remember we had lunch at a little cafe that was right off of the pier, waterfront, and we were eating our sandwiches. My niece said to us at the table, everything happens for a reason. And I called her attention, and I looked her in the eyes, and I said, Love Bug, remember you said that, okay? That was October 10th, 2020. What they didn't know was that was going to be the last day that they saw me in person alive. I went back home, lived in my fog again, in my bed, in my work, death on the brain in the morning, death in the brain at work, death in the brain at night. Every day. And on that next weekend, October 17th, 2020, around 9:40 in the morning, I woke up to a text. If you need to reach out to someone and you don't reach out to a therapist, you're not reaching out to a counselor, you're not reaching out to somebody else who's been through this, you can feel free to email me. I'm not a doctor, I am not a counselor, I am not a therapist, but sometimes you just need an outlet. So feel free to email me. It's goodmorningeileen 111621@gmail.com. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video because you never know who's drowning in their waves. You never know who's planning their death. You never know who just last week made their own attempts. Share this video. Yes, suicide's uncomfortable. Nobody wants to talk about it. I get it. Share it anyways. Also, if you are struggling with depression or anxiety and you're not in a fog, that's great. You're already so far ahead than I was at the time. But don't wait until you're hungry before you go hunting. So if you're a hot mess and you're dealing with a lot of stuff, figure it out. Work on it now. Put in the work. Nothing in your life is going to change unless you put in the work. Your life is not going to change if you have the fog until you make that decision to take it off the table for good. If you take it off the table, email me and let me know. And if you can't take it off the table, email me anyways. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Episode 3 is coming up. And you don't want to miss it because in episode 3, I'm going to tell you how a toilet delayed my plan. And I'm going to tell you Lamb's shocking reaction to when I told him about my plan. Thank you all for watching.